Welcome everyone to this joint hearing of House Appropriations, Ways and Means, and Commerce. We are here to hear an amendment from members of the Human Services Committee on H217. Have Katie walk us through, do some questions, and then have Jamian close up. So with that, Katie, thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Katie McLennan, Office of Legislative Counsel. I'm going to share my screen and pull up the amendment. So as you know, this is an amendment to H217. The first two instances of amendments are companion pieces. They are amending legislative intent language at the first section of the bill. Right now, we have a list, and we're adding a new subdivision 7 into the list. So the lead-in language is, it is the intent of the General Assembly and investments in and policy changes to Vermont's childcare and early learning system shall. We have other items in the list, and the new item would be recognize that family childcare homes are a key resource for families and rural communities and allow for ongoing financial support to enable parents to choose to send their children to family childcare homes and provide technical assistance to family childcare homes to ensure high-quality childcare services are accessible throughout the state. And then we would renumber what is currently subdivision 7, and it would become subdivision 8. Next, in the third instance of amendment, this is amending the Pre-K Education Implementation Committee section, and subsection A of that section. Some variations of this bill have had a definition. So this would put the definition that has been under consideration back in this version of the bill. It would read, as used in this section, child or children means a child or children who are 4 years of age on the date by which the child's school district requires kindergarten students to have attained 5 years of age, or who are 5 years of age and not yet enrolled in kindergarten unless otherwise specified. The fourth instance of amendment amends the same section on Pre-K Education Implementation Committee, and that change has to do with the powers and duties section of the study group. Right now, there is a sentence in the bill that would be added to. So I'll read the whole sentence, including the addition. The committee shall examine and make recommendations on the changes necessary to provide pre-K education to all children by or through the public school system on or before July 1, 2026, including transitioning children who are 3 years of age from the 10-hour pre-K benefit to childcare and early education. The fifth instance of amendment is also an amendment to this subsection of the bill, where we're talking about powers and duties of the Pre-K Education Implementation Committee. In the bill that came over from the Senate, there is the sentence, the committee's analysis may yield distinct recommendations for different pre-K ages, and the proposal is to remove that sentence. And I will save the sixth instance of amendment for Damien to review.
Thank you. Would you mind dropping the screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Any questions from the Appropriations Committee? Excuse me?
We have no hands up.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the Commerce Committee?
Nope.
Okay, any questions from the Ways and Means Committee? Representative Bodie.
Thank you. I don't understand. I think it's the first instance of amendment says rural.
I think the concept and conversation that the committee had was that there are some childcare deserts, especially in rural pockets of the state, and that the data that they have reviewed demonstrates that family childcare homes are often the most common type of provider to provide that service in pockets of the state.
Well, I don't know whether.
But was this part of Representative Higley's amendment?
It was.
Okay, but I don't, for what kind of thing is better quality or whatever, putting any of those considerations aside. what would using the word rural in here prevent someplace that's not rural from having the same opportunity to do this kind of a center?
I would say that this is legislative intent language, so it's aspirational. I don't think it precludes resources or attention going to other types of programs in other parts of the state. If we look at the whole list, where we're looking at the legislative intent of the bill, it's more inclusive to cover probably some of the items you're concerned with. So increase access to the quality of childcare services and after-school and summer programs throughout the state. Increase equitable access to and quality of pre-K education for children 4 years of age. Provide financial stability to childcare programs generally. Stabilize Vermont's talented childcare workforce. Address the workforce needs of the state's employers. Maintain a mixed delivery system for pre-K childcare and after-school and summer care. And assign school districts with the responsibility of ensuring equitable pre-K access, et cetera. So some of the other language is a little bit broader around the provision of childcare services and expanding capacity and quality.
And what I've heard from the committee in the conversations they've had about the amendments, I think there's so much emphasis in this bill around solving the challenge of childcare deserts. And did all of this really great work around changing the financing so that home care providers would be compensated adequately. And so they just felt like that hadn't been included in the intent section as much as they could have.
Well,
But I think that absolutely urban, I think home care providers are still also happen in urban areas and would also be getting all the benefits from this bill.
this would not impact, wouldn't prevent the kind of care in those kinds of settings, just because the word rural is in here.
Correct. I mean, all of the language that you've seen so far about how the rates are being adjusted, the new formula for adjusting the rates, that isn't changed by this language. This is sort of laying out guiding principles and goals for the state as you move forward with the system. And one of them is focusing on family child care homes, providing equitable care, and here particularly focusing on rural settings is one of the listed goals.
Anyone else?
Yeah, it's just a little point, also on the first section, first part of it. I'm guessing that you didn't compose the sentence, but it says, I don't have the thing in front of me, but, anybody have a copy of this thing in front of me? Yeah, okay.
Original language.
Yeah, let's see, creation, Looking for the fines that Higley language.
That's
What do you
the
want?
second instance of amendment.
Okay, sorry.
You want Higley's amendment?
Let's, recognize family child care homes are key and allow for financial supports to, the juxtaposition of key resource for families and allow for all our ongoing financial support. The way those pieces of the sentence are put together don't really work, I don't think. And it's not anything that I would cause anything to be rewritten or held up or any kind of thing. When I read it, I said, the syntax doesn't work quite well.
Would you like to see it broken into two pieces?
No, I'd rather just let it be. It's not anything, as you said, it's intent, aspirational language, and I don't know if it would help to mess with it, right?
I think not.
Yeah, don't mess with
Thank
it.
you, Steve.
Yes.
Can you clarify for the third, fourth, fifth instance of amendment that we are sort of shifting from language which has all children who are 3, 4, and 5 if you're not yet enrolled and sort of narrowing universal pre-K world to 4-year-olds? Or asking the committee to make recommendations around that, or like, what is the creation language also?
So the section 2 pre-K education implementation committee, as it came over from the Senate, is a little bit vaguer in what we're talking about when we talk about, a pre-K population. So this amendment provides, I guess, a little bit more clarity in exactly the population we're talking about. So by adding a definition, we're saying that we're really looking at 4-year-olds when we're talking about potentially changing the system in the future to have pre-K in public schools are provided through a contract by school districts with private providers. Similarly, when we have language including transitioning the children who are 3 years of age from the 10-hour pre-K benefit, we're sort of clarifying that this new system, were it to pass, would take the place of the existing 10-hour benefit. And then in the final sentence, it's sort of the fifth instance of amendment, the sentence, the committee's analysis may yield distinct recommendations for different pre-K ages. That suggests that you would be looking at pre-K for 3rd and 4th graders. 3 and 4, it's been a long day. 3 and 4-year-olds, whereas your definition is really focused on 4-year-olds. So it's sort of making conforming changes to narrow the scope from looking at pre-K students generally to the 4-year-old population.
And what we're asking, this is a sort of task force that shall make recommendations. Does it lock us into that vision of pre-K or?
No, I mean, you'd have to take legislative steps to move in that direction. This is saying, this is sort of our policy vision right now. We want to see how it would happen. Please do the work and come up with a plan to show us how we could get to pre-K for 4-year-olds in a public school setting or through the school district by July 1, 26. But in order to actually accomplish that, you have to come back and enact legislation.
I'd like to take a moment before the meeting comes out to give like a huge public thank you and gratitude to the community for all your work.
Yeah, thank you. Actually,
I'm very sure we're clapping all the other rooms. Can't see them. There's
yeah, really.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Katie.
Damien, tell us about this word.
Thank you. For the record, Damian Leonard, Legislative Council. So the last instance of amendment here, I'll just pull up on the screen really quickly. As I was doing right after I'd finished my walkthrough last night, I was looking back over the text and I realized that there was an error in the definition of self-employed individual, and it was one that Representative Beck had pointed out in the paid family leave bill back in March when it came into this committee. And I had defined self-employed individual to include a single member of an LLC or a sole shareholder of a corporation. And as everyone in this committee knows, you have LLCs that have 2 or more members where they all receive pass-through income. And so they would be getting self-employment income as the IRS sees it. Same thing with small corporations that are run by a family. And so this corrects that to say self-employed individual means an individual who earns self-employment income. So it's just making sure that we don't have a crazy exemption for multi-member LLCs or something like that in the statute. And so appreciation to Representative Beck and to the committee for giving me a chance to make the technical amendment.
Appreciation to you for noticing it at night.
So,
It's none of us today, so thank you. Appreciate it.
great, thank you.
Any questions from any of the other committees about this one? Okay, thank you. I think we could vote in our separate rooms. Does that make sense to you all?
Sure, we'll just get on another Zoom feed.
Oh, I guess, no, that would be so annoying for you. Let's do it on this feed. Sorry. There's no reason to cause you that trouble.
Want to do each
Who
committee
wants to vote
separate?
first?
We'll go first.
Great, thank you, Mike.
Okay, so committee, all in favor of the amendment, raise your hand. Opposed? 10-1-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Appropriations?
We're having a little trouble with our audio, so the question to us is, this is gonna replace the amendment we heard earlier. The difference for appropriations is that the last section that we heard that made it a little bit comfortable for people was that it changed from 47.8 to 47.3. That is now gone. So they're back to their original position of the $25 part. That's the part that impacts the money. The other pieces are policy, been some other changes. I just want to make sure that people in the hurriedness of this understand the difference from our world, what that is. And I've got Representative Dickinson has a question.
Yeah, thank you. When you go to the part that says, the fourth instance of amendment, where you're looking at the pre-kindergarten education implementation committee for 2026, when you're including children who are 3 years of age from the
That's the same language we had from this morning too. If you take a quick look, that there's a couple of changes, but.
Just wondering what kind of, does that mean we're including eliminating the 10-hour and going to including them in the pre-kindergarten? What would that cost? Is there any money attached to that?
All other committees, we do have with us Nolan from Joint Fiscal. I don't know if you can answer that question.
Yeah, so there's we don't have anyone from fiscal staff here, but in previous conversations, none of this has, none of it is sort of definite at this point. But a move eventually, if that happens, to full day pre-K for 4-year-olds. In, I think a past fiscal note somewhere of analysis is somewhere in the vicinity of 40 million a year. That would then have which is out of the ed fund, so less of an appropriations issue, but of course an issue for all of us. And then that would actually also cause a reduction in the amount needed for CCFAP out of the general fund, but not on a one-to-one. One of the reasons there's a huge, there's a section in the bill that includes a big data ask from JFO regarding pre-K. We really don't have enough information right now about full day kindergarten, half day kindergarten, full day pre-K, half day pre-K for Julia at JFO to feel very confident in her, the parameters around her numbers. And so she's being as conservative as possible. We would get much more accurate numbers before we would implement anything. That's why that section is there.
Is it safe to say that this is no fiscal impact to 24?
Or even 25, yes.
Right. Okay, that's what so there's no fiscal impact, it's asking for data for the future, not a fiscal impact right now.
So do you want to vote from us?
Well, I think, do we need to vote like as committees as we're going around? Let me
We're
just
straw polling in a circle.
Okay, so we would probably, any other questions from here? It's the last day, but we can't devolve all protocol. All right. If you're in favor of replacing this amendment with the one that we did earlier, please give us a thumb.
Hold it.
Oh,
If that other amendment can be offered, we don't, that straw poll we took on it this morning.
it's done. Right, that's
We're
right.
gonna do a new one. I don't
Exactly.
even know why we would be asked for a straw poll, it doesn't affect mine.
Well, isn't that nice? But you know what? Just to be on the safe side, you've been invited to the party. Because it was at one point.
No fiscal.
I would say this amendment has no fiscal impact on 24.
Yes.
That would be true. So I think.
So I make a straw motion for a straw poll that we accept this amendment favorably.
Okay.
As having no fiscal impact.
As having no fiscal impact. Please show a thumbs up, please. We have a, what is it? We have 1101. Okay.
Great, thank you all.
Thank you. And I think we'll have a conversation and appreciate it. And we're gonna hear from S80 as soon as we.
Okay, so, hi team. So, for our straw poll, any further, still on the Zoom, any further conversation on this before we do a straw poll? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of this amendment? Opposed? Okay. That is 11-10. 11-10, okay. Thank you. There was a one.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, thank you.
We're very orderly.
On another bill, they said they were taking up S80, I'm reporting that's,
We're,
I need to go down and talk to them.
which one's that taking?
S80 is the one that has, the money from federal to state, trust funds for sewage, water treatment.
Oh, yes, I mean, you are reporting that, so yes,
I'm
it should be
reporting.
there when they're reporting, when we're reporting it. Yes.
Should I go down there and see if they interrogate me or ask me any questions?
We didn't make any amendments,
No, we didn't do anything.
so who would interrogate you? You mean on the floor?
No, one never knows. What's this all about, And they should know. Whoever sponsored the thing in the first place should do.
Yeah, Jim, take one of the family, see what they're doing.
You're reporting. I'm reporting it, that part.
Go see what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Down there.
Okay, go for it. Okay, we're going to floor soon, maybe, I don't remember, does anyone remember what the speaker said about?